Jimmy Butler, he's a very interesting player to me.
He's like, oh, shoot, I don't know where to go with the ball because I haven't been able to think.
It was a great series. Game 4 was one of the best games I've ever watched in my entire life. Now LeBron's a 4-time champion, and Anthony Davis gets his first.
It's unacceptable. So happy when the Astros lost because it would definitely be a 2020 thing.
Yeah, I was impressed by their game. Braden Point, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov, that was the best line in the playoffs, no doubt.
Stay undefeated when they face the mighty Cowboys with Garrett Gilbert.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Sandler, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. The final game of the season, the Super Bowl, has ended, and I am joined by the man that, I sent him texts, but what a game, Austin. What a game. I don't know if it's one of the best. I don't really want to think about that. What a fantastic game that was. And that's all I can think about just describing the game. I'm like, man, what a beautiful game. And for me, I was glad the Chiefs won. I didn't want the Niners to win, but no matter what, I think you can just say that was a really good game.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was a great game. Both teams definitely had their moments, bad or great, but it was a close contest. Either team could have won.
Yeah, and we saw it come down. Had to go into overtime. Came in final seconds, but they would have done another quarter. It just added, I think, kind of to the tension, I guess.
Second, that's just so stupid to me. Why is there? Here's my question. What if you somehow wasted all 4 quarters of the overtime before the second team got a chance to score? Like, at that point, would it be over? Are we going infinite court? I just don't get it. That just seems stupid to me. I don't know.
It was funny when someone was like, because I was with people that they're not like really into football, and they're like, yeah, so what are the rules? And I'm like, I don't. Like, they just kick again. They're like, you're gonna have to give us more than that. And I'm like, I don't know.
My dad and I had no idea watching the game together. We were confused. So,
and they're like, so do you? I was like, both teams get the ball, and they're like, but what about after that? I'm like, I don't know. So
because I told him that I thought that when the quarter ran out, just like in the regular season, that the game was over if one team was winning, because technically the Chiefs had gotten the ball, right? And that was a possession. Now, obviously they scored before the first quarter ended, so it wouldn't have mattered. But I was just so confused.
Yeah, I think, and even the Niners were confused for a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But it was a slow start and an uncharacteristic fumble from McCaffrey. I was like, no way, he just fumbled that.
Well, it's also too... Okay, we can get to the point I was going to talk about before, what I told you about before we recorded. But there was 2 people going for the ball. Like, you obviously don't need to fumble, but McCaffrey rarely fumbles ever. And so, uncharacteristic of him, sure, but also anyone could have fumbled. You're going to fumble sometimes, but I didn't watch the Nickelodeon cast with SpongeBob and Patrick, but Patrick, if you watch... Tell me, did you watch SpongeBob a lot as a kid?
Not really.
Oh, man, you're not going to get it. Okay, so there's this SpongeBob episode where Patrick goes to work for Mr. Krabs, right? And he's trying to open a jar. Okay?
Okay.
And, in the video, or in the Super Bowl, McCaffrey's obviously fumbles, and Patrick tells him to firmly grasp it. And it's just, I'll have to send you the clip for you to get it, because I don't think you're...
I saw, like, the thing firmly grasp it.
No, McCaffrey fumbles, and Patrick's like, you have to firmly grasp it.
That's awesome. Oh, that's funny. Oh, man. And
I'll send you the clip. It's Squidward when he's hurt, tries to go jellyfishing with them, and he can't grab the net. So Patrick tells him to firmly grasp it.
Okay. I'll see if I get a text, or I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Once you send it. But yeah, no, I didn't watch it. I said before, my brother and I were texting about this. I could not stand Tony Romo. Like, just it was at the end of the game too, and he's like, "There's 10 seconds left. They got time to run 2 plays." And I'm like, "No, they don't." Like, you got one like shot play, then
Look, we'll talk about that first
Yeah.
because you brought it up. But why did Mahomes throw the ball so quickly? Why didn't he do a longer play? You can waste 9 seconds and be fine. I don't know why he threw it immediately. That only took 4. If he just went through his progression at least one time and saw Rice, the game would have been over. I didn't think that was a good decision to him to throw the ball to Kelsey.
Yeah, I saw. That's a good point. I think they were getting pressure on him, so he may have been a little bit rattled. And someone on
He
Twitter
threw it
mentioned,
immediately, though.
Oh yeah, and I get that. Like, I was thinking, if I had that situation, I'm gonna go for my first read. I'm gonna throw it, and then I'll have time to see if they have a second play or if there'll just be one play.
Like you said, there was no opportunity for a second play because there was never going to be. I don't think there was ever going to be because you're not going to get a play done in 3 seconds if you're throwing it to the end zone from that far out. So,
And then I texted you this. It was a good no call. I don't know how I feel about flags, but it wasn't really a flag. But
it wasn't. Fred Warner played great coverage, and
Fred Warner was incredible this game.
Oh, he always is. He's always amazing. Best middle linebacker in the league.
Or Pacheco screen when he got him down. I'm like, man, that's just incredible.
And one thing I have to mention, look, Mahomes is great. He played great at multiple times in this game. But the play that screamed out to me that wasn't very elite of him, it wasn't even the pick he threw where he threw 5 yards over Kelsey's head.
Dude, that pick was terrible.
That was so bad. That was one of the worst picks I've seen in the Super Bowl in a minute because that was just it wasn't even close. Like Kelsey didn't even think it was intended to him. So like Kelsey didn't even jump or whatever. Do you remember the botched snap where Mahomes gets it and then just throws it down the field to nobody and it almost got picked?
Are you talking Super Bowl?
Yes.
Yeah, no one was in the middle. Yeah.
No one was there. My dad was screaming, "What are you doing? That is a horrible play." Like, obviously, they didn't have to take a sack, but there was a non-zero chance he threw a pick there. And if you throw a pick there, the game's over. Like, I don't get what he was doing. I know you want to save the sack and not take a sack, but the alternative of throwing a pick is 100 times worse. Like, I get that it worked out. I get that it was better than taking a sack, but it wasn't the right decision.
Yeah, I was afraid that was going to be intentional grounding. I was like, is there even a receiver in the area? Like, what happened there?
Yeah, I didn't know.
But it was bad. I want to go. This one, I was talking to you about like Brady and Mahomes. I'm not going to GOAT conversation, but I think this game just shows if you gotta trust or just cements Mahomes' game on the line within one score, he can come back. And he showed that with him coming back. And that's where I think the Chiefs bet on themselves when they did the Tyreek Hill trade. Because, Austin, the other 2 Super Bowl wins, they've been within 10 points. Do you know the other Super Bowl loss? What happened at halftime? Or what the score was at halftime between the Chiefs and the Bucs?
It was 21-6, I believe.
Yes, correct. It was 14-6, and maybe if it doesn't happen that way, but they shut the door. The Bucs shut the door on Mahomes in that Super Bowl. And I think part of that Brady understands you can't let a guy like Mahomes do that because that's what Brady did too well. Like, if you just leave a sliver of room, he seems to do that. Brady did that to the highest extent with 28-3. Yeah. Mahomes, it seems it has to be a more realistic thing.
I don't know. It doesn't feel the same with Mahomes this game as it does feel with Brady. And maybe it's because of Brady's thrown picks in Super Bowls. I get that. But here's a point. In 4 Super Bowls Mahomes has been in, he's thrown 5 picks. In 10 Super Bowls, Brady threw 6. In 10 Super Bowls, Brady threw 6 picks. In 4, Mahomes has thrown 5. So he's thrown a pick in every Super Bowl he's played in. He didn't throw one last year. That's right. Yeah, he threw 2 in his first 2, and then didn't throw one last year, and then threw one this year. but like it's not even. It's still really bad picks. I've never seen Brady throw like that level of pick. Like Brady throws picks. Like maybe I just trust my guy here and I throw a pick. I'm fine with those. But the one Mahomes throw was Kelsey was open. If he hits Kelsey, that's a 20-yard game. Also, it took here's another thing. The Chiefs scored 1 touchdown in regulation. 1. And it came off a fluke punt recovery that hit the guy on the foot. Me and my dad were mad at Ray McLeod, who's a great returner.
Yeah.
Because why'd you go for it? And then look, I know Ray McLeod didn't make the play, but to have that level of concentration to say, oh, that hit my guy's foot, I have to go get it. Even though he didn't get it, I'd like to give him credit because I struggled to see that in the moment.
Yeah, I was like, what is he doing? And then they showed the replay, and I was like, oh, he has to get on that.
He has to go get the ball. So while he didn't get it, that's I think
I don't really blame him. I blame it on the other guy.
No, 100%. That's an incredibly tough ball to get on. Now, he maybe could have done it better, but you can't blame him for that. But again, the Chiefs' only offense for a touchdown was off of a fluke play like that. Mahomes was not good, or the offense, I should say, not necessarily Mahomes. The offense was not good during regulation. And I think a big part of that is some of the mistakes, either by some of the players or a bad. Mahomes took sacks for no reason at times. At the end of the fourth quarter, Mahomes had one of the worst displays of clock management I've ever seen. Do you remember the play before the Kelsey catch? Okay, where he ran down the sideline to the 10-yard line. Do you remember the play before that?
Play before that.
It's second down. Mahomes gets it, immediately runs forward, and gets 3 yards. And now they have to all run back. You remember this? They all have to come back to the line of scrimmage?
Yes.
Mahomes didn't, for 2 seconds, he dropped back, immediately ran forward for 3 yards. That was just the most Dak Prescott QB sneak play I've ever seen in my life. Like, that's the same play. It is. They had 40 seconds. And when they hiked the ball, they had 17. And then you get to play to Kelsey, which took 7 seconds, and now there's 10 seconds left, and now you get the one, whatever. If Mahomes had played that better, you could have won the game in regulation. Now, Mahomes was amazing, but the defense was much more remarkable.
The defense kept them in it, kind of going where I was kind of talking about the sliver. The defense did that because people will talk about the punt. To me, it's the pick. The Niners did not score. That was
Oh.
Because after the pick, that's when the Niners never mind. Because I'm pretty sure the pick happened. It was on the first drive of the second half.
Yeah. And they had great field position and could have got at least a field goal out of it. The biggest play, though, was the missed PAT. Game. The biggest play is the missed PAT. Okay. Yeah, because think about it. You score that extra point, right? It would have been 17.
17.
And how many points did the Chiefs have? The Chiefs I think the Chiefs had 13. It was 13.
Yeah, they had 13 because the field goal tied it.
So when the Chiefs score another field goal, right, and then the 49ers score that field goal, it would have been 20. And now the Chiefs have to. I would have loved to seen if everything happened like it did, and the Chiefs with 10 seconds left had possibly 2 plays to have to score a touchdown. Like what would have been the calls? Look. I'll go 2 things. One Romo thing, one Jim Nantz thing. Romo said that Jake Moody was maybe nervous on that kick. Moody made a 55-yard field goal.
Super Bowl record.
A couple drives before. It was a Super Bowl record for a quarter. But
yeah, for like 2 hours.
Yeah. But I don't think he was nervous on PAT. I just think he messed up. And I think a lot of people get confused between mistakes and actual nerves. Like, if Purdy had made the Mahomes interception, people would have said he was nervous, right? We're not going to say Mahomes was nervous. That's just a missed throw. Nervous is bad decision making. I thought Mahomes was nervous on that run I was talking about. Like when the one he ran forward and got 3 yards, and now you have to get everyone back because you don't want to waste your last time out, yada, yada, yada. It was just bad. And then on to the Jim Nantz one. And this one's bad. I don't remember if you remember this. It's in overtime. The Chiefs get their 4th down conversion, and they're about like at the 50-yard line. And Jim Nantz says, if you're the 49ers, you'd have to think they're scared because they're going against Mahomes. I'm not going to get the quote right, but he's like, I bet it has to be scary to be on the 49ers defense, knowing up that if you give up a touchdown, you lose the Super Bowl. If you give up a touchdown, you lose the Super Bowl. You have to be scared. And I didn't realize until this game how out of touch some people are with actual athlete mentality. There's no way Fred Warner was scared on that last drive, even though they gave up the touchdown, right? Even though the Chiefs ended up winning. Could you, if you're scared, you shouldn't even be on the field. I just refuse to believe that anyone against Mahomes, against Brady, against any player in any sport is like, I'm scared. The only time I can imagine it is when a field goal is going on and like you can't impact it. Like the ball's already out. Like, okay, is he going to make it? Or in basketball, right? You're not scared about, if you're in the NBA and for game point, you're not scared about guarding LeBron. To be the best, you have to beat the best, right? You may be like, how am I going to stop this guy? Like semantically, but not like I'm actually scared, fear. Now, maybe, like I said, Steph Curry the other night hit a great shot against the Suns. I'm sure you've seen it, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well, he hit a shot from 30 feet out. He caught it, turned around, shot a shot from 30 feet out. Like when you're guarding Curry, you're not scared. But when the shot's in the air, now you're scared because you have no impact on the play anymore. So back to the Jim Nantz thing. They're still like at their own 45. So they're about the 50-yard line. And Jim Nantz says that the 49ers are scared. There's no way. I tell you, not one person on the 49ers was scared. I don't think Kyle Shanahan was scared. I don't think anyone was scared. Maybe the offensive players that it cannot impact the game. Or like, are they going to stop them? I don't know. But the guys on the field making the plays are never scared. Or if they are, they shouldn't be on the field. I just refuse to believe that professional athletes are scared. I mean, one of your favorite moments is the Corey Seager homer. Do you think he was scared?
No,
I don't think so.
Those type of athletes probably relish that moment.
No, let's go. This is what is that not the dream?
Yeah.
Is that not the dream? Is it not the dream?
That's what we're all dreaming as young kids.
As a defensive player, you get to stop you win the Super Bowl. Is that not the dream? Is that not what you lived your life to be? I've never heard something just so out of touch with what they're actually feeling. I'm surprised Romo didn't chime in. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't be scared.
Romo's out of touch.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I will say one more thing about Romo. Hugging Mahomes after the game on the stand. Mahomes? Yeah, on the stand. They were up with the trophy right before they did all the presentation. Romo was up there hugging. And my dad said it. And my dad is a Cowboys fan, so he obviously likes Mahomes. Or not Mahomes, Romo. But he was like, he just wants to feel like he won something or something like that. But it was bad. Your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, so I understand your point with the PAT, and that had a larger effect on the game. To me, that pick sticks out to me because second half, it was 10-3. They could have, if they get a score there, they get a touchdown. To me, the game's pretty much out of reach. But that just goes to the Chiefs defense standing up and giving Mahomes time and the offense time to figure it out, because Mahomes and Andy Reid are incredible together. And I remember in the Ravens-Chiefs discussion, our previous championship video, we talked about, or I came up with like a comparison between Spider-Man movies. I thought of a much better comparison. The Chiefs, when they won the first time against the Niners, their offense was like a Corvette. It was a sexy offense. It was big plays, flashy. And then now their offense was an F-150. No offense to F-150s. I drive one. But it kind of shakes when you get up into high speeds.
Or like a Jeep or something like that.
Or they don't have the ability to play that high, that's been the problem with the Chiefs offense. But they just found enough to get it to work, and they made it work. And I don't hate the Mahomes MVP or Super Bowl MVP, I personally would have gone with McDuffie, but I know he had that holding call, but I'm like, Mahomes had that interception. So I think I still would have chosen McDuffie as the Super Bowl MVP for the Chiefs.
They were never going to give it to McDuffie.
Yeah,
he was definitely. I think the biggest impact player was probably Harrison Butker because he kicked the longest kick.
I wouldn't have hated that too. Chris Jones also. The pressure on Purdy on third down in overtime.
Yeah,
he was just unblocked.
They didn't block him. So
yeah, but
I
still,
think
how do you not block Chris Jones?
My point by I don't think.
Yeah,
I think most defensive linemen in the NFL could have made that play because they didn't even try to block him. So,
fair.
But yeah, I think McDuffie was the best defensive player. And then, Kevin, one of your friends was talking to me. Bosa was a game wrecker, and so was Fred Warner. And they were talking about it was funny hearing him say what he had to say. And obviously, he's happy because the Chiefs won. But
okay, I know which friend this is.
Yeah, talking about how he could block Bosa. Chase Young was a game wrecker. The 49ers offense just couldn't get that play. And McCaffrey was amazing all game. I know he had that fumble, but he was the only reason why that offense was even doing as well as they were. It was just they couldn't get that play. And I want to give props to Purdy because people before this game were talking about how Purdy's just emergent of the players that he was playing with in the Kyle Shanahan system. But was there ever a moment in that game where he had a bad throw? The one that got tipped and it was almost picked in overtime, right?
There might have been one earlier on in the game where he just missed the guy at his feet, but no. He had some great throws. You know, I'm probably a Purdy hater. That Christian Juszczyk throw, that throw to Juszczyk, I was like, wow, that was a great throw. He also withstood the pressure. He had some great throws.
Big hits and made throws.
Yeah. He was great. I don't know what to say to this loss. It was just they couldn't shut the door on the Chiefs. That's why I keep going back to. They just couldn't get him out. They couldn't knock him out.
The problem is, and while I get why you say the Bucks,
yeah,
the difference there is that I think the Chiefs. I think why the Chiefs were kind of freaking out too isn't the Tyreek Hill thing. It's the fact that they knew Jimmy Garoppolo's not going to do it. Purdy maybe in the future is able to do it, and Jalen Hurts wasn't able to do it. But let's say the Chiefs did get it to a closer game. It's Brady. You have to get points now. You can't wait. Or Brady just stopped throwing the ball in the second half completely because he knew I'm just going to waste time. I'm going to waste time. And if I need to throw again, I'm ready. I just think it was because it was Brady. And I think that's kind of the point why the Niners kind of got out of system for a little bit. I think Kyle Shanahan coached a good game. I don't think he made some wrong decisions, but I can't be convinced that he coached poorly. I think he coached well. But the problem is he doesn't like those plays to end games. Meaning, take a shot. On that third down where McDuffie got the tip, it was a slant for a first down. If they mass protected, ran a play action deep ball, let's go for the touchdown now or a deep pass. They're going to try to stop the first down. That's what the Chiefs are trying to do in that 3rd and 4. Stop the first down. Let's score a touchdown. And let's see what the Chiefs can answer with. They just didn't punish Mahomes' mistakes.
Yes.
There was never a punishment of his mistakes. Whether it was the bad plays, I was talking about the throw that was almost picked, the throw that he did throw that was picked. Some of the times he just ran around and got sacked for no reason. They couldn't capitalize on it. And if a player is that talented like Mahomes is, I do think that he will take advantage of you. And again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. He's on that Mount Rushmore of great quarterbacks. It's really just him, Montana, and Brady. I think that any other quarterback is just a tier below those guys. I'm not going to get into the conversation who's better, who's worse, but when you have a Montana, when you have a Brady, when you have a Mahomes, you have to capitalize on their mistakes. You have to.
Yes.
That's why I'll give credit to the Eagles. While their offense was, their defense was horrible against Brady. Brady threw for the most yards ever. But Brady made one mistake. His right tackle got beat, and Brandon Graham, sacked him. Brady fumbled, and they ended up getting points off of that to making it an 8-point game with not much time left. So you have to be able to take advantage of those mistakes. You have to.
Yeah, I love where you were going in that whole thing because that's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of the Eagles, and yeah, it's Montana, Brady, and Mahomes. Those three. We won't get into the exact order, but those are guys where biggest moments, you need a game-winning drive. Those are, I think you're happy with those three guys.
So I think I definitely know what my choice would be.
It'd most likely be Brady, but if you're given an option within any of those three guys, like if it's Mahomes, Manning, let's say Dak, I'll throw Dak in there, or Purdy, someone else in Montana, you're like, oh, I see that guy, I'm gonna get him. Or if you're happy with those three, you're like, okay, I have a really good chance of doing it. Some have failed. Brady failed with the Eagles, as you brought up. Mahomes failed, and wasn't the Super Bowl, but against the Bengals when he threw that interception to Tyreek Hill, or aiming for Tyreek Hill. There's a moment. It's just those are guys where you can give that ball to them and trust it. And if you just can't let them have room, which goes to capitalizing on mistakes, even if you get a field goal, that probably changes the momentum too of that Mahomes interception. The way they got 0 points was insane, and I think goes to the defense's incredible play. And you mentioned they're one of the best.
Conversation about regarding the GOAT conversation. Well, I'm not going to argue best, worst, whatever, but we do discredit teammates on both sides, and it's for all three of those guys. They had amazing teammates that you can't win by yourself in football. Montana had the greatest wide receiver of all time. Brady had so many great offensive players and defensive players. Mahomes has one of the best offensive-minded head coaches ever, and along with Travis Kelce, and this year he had arguably the best defense in the league. But that doesn't take away from the fact that you have to do it. You have to go through and make the plays. And I don't consider myself a Mahomes hater. I'm definitely not a Mahomes lover, but I have to give credit for that last drive. While I do think that he made some mistakes that definitely could have been capitalized on if the 49ers did, they didn't, and Mahomes made them pay for that.
Yeah, I agree, and well said. Yeah, and great coaches too, and it takes great coaches, and I think Andy Reid did a great job, especially with. I was shocked the way Travis Kelce was just in his face, and I was listening to someone there it was about feelings versus fact, and they're like they complimented Andy Reid for not replying back or not yelling back at Kelce. He let Kelce voice his emotions, and then if that's any other player,
you can't do that. Kelce
shouldn't have done that, and if it's any other player than Kelce, he's probably cut.
Unless it's Mahomes, but I get your point. I don't think I've never been a big Kelce person, and people nowadays would bring up the. I'm not a big Travis Kelce person. People would bring up the Taylor Swift stuff or whatever, but he's just that's just stuff I just don't like. You can't do that, man. I don't care who you are. Look, I've seen Brady get mad and throw his iPad right at the ground, but he's mad at himself. Kelce is mad at Andy Reid. He's mad at his coach. Put me in. Look, you can say, Coach, you got to put me in there. You have to. There's a difference at screaming in dude's face and bumping him. I don't care if Andy Reid's okay with it. 99% of coaches would not have.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we can. I just don't. You just can't do that. You just can't do that. it's not the end of the world. It's not Draymond Green levels of what are you doing? You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, you can't do that. Like, there are levels to this. Like I said, Draymond Green, I think, is the best example of someone who just sometimes goes crazy. And Travis Kelce's never gotten to that level. But it's still unacceptable. Because I saw someone on Twitter describing how Kelce's thing wasn't that bad. It's not even a top 20 worst thing this year. Like, look at what Draymond did. If you're comparing Kelce to Draymond, the conversation has gotten worrisome, in my opinion. Well, Draymond's obviously an amazing basketball player. His decision-making when it comes to some of the stuff he does on and off the court is extremely questionable.
Yeah, to me, yeah, I'm kind of it's being glossed over now because they won, but yeah, what else do you want to add?
Do you remember preseason when him and a player got into it? This was before Taylor Swift. In the preseason, him and a defensive player got into it. You can look it up.
I do not remember this.
You can look it up.
Okay.
But they got into it. Look up on Twitter or something. But like preseason scuffle between between Kelce. Yeah. This was July 29th. He punched his teammate. Travis Kelce punches teammate during training camp. Yeah. And this was before Taylor Swift. And this is Draymond.
Yeah.
I think the best example to compare Kelce to, let me know if you can find it. If you can't, then I'll just send it to you.
I am not able to find it. Can you text it to me? Thanks. Oh, never mind. Or tempers flare in preseason, throws a shocking punch at his own teammate.
Yeah. Huh. You see the play? He catches the touchdown and then
I don't see
punches
the play.
in the
It's
face.
just a headline.
Okay. Or in the helmet, I should say, because he's wearing a helmet. But I'll send you the play. It's only you can watch it here. It's not that long.
And
but this
and then
is just
also watch the friendly grasp.
That one you need sound. You can do that at any time. You don't have to do this mid episode. But just
Gotcha.
Kelce is the Mahomes, and not Kelce's not the Mahomes. Kelce is Draymond, while Curry is the Mahomes. Curry and Mahomes are very team-oriented, very player-first. They really respect their teammates. They really respect their coaches, and they're both great people from what I've seen. I obviously don't know them personally, but from everything that they show, Curry and Mahomes are very good people. While Kelce and Draymond, I would not necessarily be as comfortable if I got them mad. I don't know what's happening. That's Kelce and Draymond. Did you see the play?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, it seems like Kelce gets very into it. I think he's better than Draymond, but you don't know. And he's a guy that gives into it. And also on the play, too, I'm like, Kelce, you're not a great blocker.
No.
So
and this is the whole... I will talk about the Gronk versus
we'll talk about Gronk
Kelce
later.
for 2 seconds. Gronk could block. You never had to take him out of the game. This is why he's a better tight end. It's not... Look.
Tight end is a blocker.
Yeah, tight end is a position that necessitates blocking. If you have to take out your star tight end because he cannot block, he's not really a tight end. He's just a wide receiver.
A part of me was just like, I want to have the confidence in myself that Kelce has in his blocking ability. Kelce, there's no way.
Yeah, he's trying to actually score a touchdown, Kelce.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was crazy. And I was just like, whoa, that is something you don't see. And it's getting glossed over because they won, but that's something to keep in mind. But Andy Reid, I think, was incredible. And just the way he's developed Mahomes, just fantastic, that offense.
Yeah, I think it's good. We got off track a couple of times, but it was a good game.
Fantastic game. Wonderful.
I'd say it's probably the best Super Bowl since... Oh, I mean, there's been a lot of good recently. I think it's better than last year. I think the Rams one was better than this one. Just there was fewer, egregious mistakes. I know this one went to overtime, but the Rams-Bengals one also went to, the last second. Yeah. I thought both of those were... The last 3 have been very, very good. But I'd say my favorite of the last 3 is probably... Even though I obviously, if you remember...
Yeah, I remember you
screaming about that. That was not pass interference on Logan Wilson. I will always say that. But as a game, I think that game was better than this one. It could be close. You could argue any of the last three because all of them came down to the last drive.
Yeah, it was just I love this one. Just because just how it ended, there wasn't any flag. Like I don't know. Like the ref calls what he calls. I don't have a I've given up. I give up on what it catches. But and other flags. But just that there's no controversy. It was boom. It ended with a play.
I do like that. There was no controversy.
There's no It was just pure football, which is amazing. And just so fun. And I'm happy the Chiefs won. So I was rooting for him. So that's all we got. It's incredible end to the season, and I just can't really I can't believe it. Just what they did. This is like how could they not be favorites to win it again? Because this was probably their worst roster yet offensively.
I get that, but also like Burrow gets hurt, Rodgers gets hurt. It took a lot of injuries for this to happen. I was having this conversation with my dad, and in our next NFL video, we're going to talk a little bit about the Niners and their future. It takes so much to get to this point for any team. There's a reason why it was a 10-year stretch where Brady did not win one, even though he went to 2 Super Bowls. But it's a 10-year stretch because he gets hurt, or other players on his team gets hurt, or his star tight end kills somebody, or some crazy stuff happens that you just have no control over, right? So I don't think the Chiefs are favorites this upcoming year. We'll see. I get that it's their worst offense, but again, so much has to go right. Dre Greenlaw has to tear his Achilles mid-game. Dude,
like it's just that was so crazy, and it wasn't the field, right?
No, that stuff just happens sometimes. Yeah. The amount of torn Achilles I've seen during the 2023 NFL season is incredibly bad. It's just so many. It's so many. I've never seen that many. Before this year, the only real Achilles tear that I remembered was Arian Foster. So I don't know if you remember that Achilles tear, but for some reason it just
sticks in my brain.
But so much has to go right for you to get to that point. So much. And it's really going to be hard for either of these teams to make it back. And if the Chiefs do, which they probably will, obviously, during Mahomes' timeline, it's so hard to make it. That's what makes it so impressive that they've won 3 in 5 years. And it's so impressive when the Patriots did that, won 3 in 5 years. It takes a lot to get to that point. It takes a lot out of you. And you can't have major injuries. So it's what made it so incredible. In the worst offense of Mahomes' career, he can still get there, even though he had a great defense. When Julian Edelman is out for the year, Brady can still make a Super Bowl, even though that's his best wide receiver. That's what makes Mahomes and Brady so great, is they can do it with less. But at the same time, next year's a new year, and I could really see a lot of different teams going their way.
Yeah, and that's why we play it. We were talking about it before. We were having talks. We were just like, Niners are the better team. They're the more complete team, but that's why we play the games, and that's why we watch it, just to see what happens. Chiefs are officially a dynasty. Any final thoughts before we close this out?
Nope.
Let us know what you think. Was there something that stood out to you? Do you disagree with some of our things? Let us know in your opinions, and we appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.